What's up guys, Nuance Bro checking in, and today we're going to be talking about this bizarre occurrence at one of AOC's town halls where this woman stood up and talked about how we should eat babies as a way to solve the climate crisis. So we're going to go into all of that. We're going to figure out whether she was serious, whether she was trolling, and we got all the answers to that, so let's get into it. But before we start, if you'd like to support this channel, it really helps out a lot so we can keep doing videos like this. Please go to nuancebro.com/join and become a member today. So on Thursday, AOC was holding a town hall in New York, and this happened.
We're not gonna be here for much long because of the climate crisis. We only have a few months left. I love that you support the Green Deal, but it's not getting rid of fossil fuel. It's not going to solve the problem fast enough. A Swedish professor saying, we can eat dead people, but that's not fast enough. So I think your next campaign slogan has to be this: we got to start eating babies. We don't have enough time. There's too much CO2. All of you're a pollutant. Too much CO2. We have to start now, please. You are so great. I'm so happy that you're really supporting the Green Deal, but it's not enough. Even if we would bomb Russia, we still have too many people, too much pollution. So we have to get rid of the babies. That's a big problem. Just stopping having babies is not enough. We need to eat the babies, and this is very serious. Please give a response.
Thank you. No, thank you. We'll go ahead.
Okay.
No, we'll go ahead. It's so no. Yeah, no. Thank you. So I think So one of the things that's very important to us is that we need to treat the climate crisis with the urgency that it does present. Luckily, we have more than a few months. We do need to hit net zero in several years. But I think we all need to understand that there are a lot of solutions that we have and that we can pursue, and that if we act in a positive way, there's space for hope. We are never beyond hope. Okay.
So you could see a woman stood up. She portrayed herself as a supporter of AOC and the Green New Deal, and then she took off her jacket to show a shirt which talked about how we need to eat babies. And she said the way we need to solve this climate crisis is to eat babies. And she referenced a Swedish scientist who said eating dead people would help the climate and things like that. So immediately upon seeing this, people were wondering what the hell is going on? Who is this person? Is she a genuine AOC supporter? Is she trolling? Is she mentally disturbed? Now, upon me seeing this initially, I came out with the impression that this was 100% a troll. As you can see in this tweet here, I said, "Epic troll, lol, laughed my ass off." But after a while, I tweeted this. Okay, so I've watched the video probably over 20 times now. I'm starting to think she actually meant what she said, and it is a sincere supporter and obviously mentally ill. It doesn't seem to be an act, which is quite scary. Hopefully she doesn't show up on the news for eating a baby. And down here, you could see that I was still torn. I said, "God, I'm so torn, I must know." Now, Congresswoman AOC also tweeted out herself as well, and she said, "Hey everyone, we had a fabulous town hall tonight, and I'll be highlighting some moments from it. At one point, I was concerned there was a woman in crisis and want to ensure we treat the situation compassionately. Let's not mock or make a spectacle, and let's work on Medicare for all. This person may have been suffering from a mental condition, and it's not okay that the right wing is mocking her and potentially make her condition or crisis worse. Be a decent human being and knock it off." So I gotta be honest, I was a little torn because at first it seemed like an obvious troll. I saw she was wearing a prepared t-shirt that said, eat the babies and things like that. But as I kept looking at it over and over again, it didn't come off like a normal troll to me, because a normal troll, they would say ridiculous things, but as they say it, they don't seem like they're genuinely crazy. This woman seemed like she was genuinely crazy, but what she was saying and how she prepared also looked like a troll. So what was going on here? So I decided to look into it a little bit more, and I got some help from some people, and then I found this video.
Carbon dioxide emissions are the greatest harm to our climate and our future. And we need to get serious about doing the numbers, who are biggest emitters of carbon dioxide emissions? And I think you know that, well, honestly, we're not the greatest problem.
Is it the children?
Logically, yes. I mean, think about the numbers. Just consider the numbers for a minute, okay? If you have one fewer children, that will have a greater impact on carbon dioxide emissions than any other lifestyle choice that you make. But how many fewer children would you not have? 3, 4? It's not good enough.
So you're saying we should eat the children?
Absolutely. We're taking orders now that can be fulfilled for Thanksgiving. We've been given a generous grant from Mark Carney, of the Governor of the Bank of England, to get started. But we will only succeed in supporting our organization and the planet from support from you. And whatever you can pledge today is a good start. Consider one a week. We can get orders fulfilled by Thanksgiving, and we have a variety of different options for you to choose from.
Does Mark Carney eat babies too?
Probably.
Oh, how does he suggest preparing them then?
I don't think he does it himself, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for answering these questions
Thank you.
from Washington Square
Thank
Post.
you. We really appreciate your support.
Thanks. Bye.
So here you see a man, and he's being interviewed by some woman, and he's talking about eating the babies. He also has the same shirt as the woman. And as soon as he mentions the Bank of England and things like that, I automatically knew that this was some sort of conspiracy theory type group, and they believed in these conspiracies with the Bank of England controlling everything, because I've met people like this in my videos before, so I knew what to look for. And if you listen to the voice of the woman who's recording that video, it sounds a lot like the voice of the woman who confronted AOC. So I started putting the pieces together, and then I got this tweet thread. So this is a tweet thread from Matthew Sweet, and he says, "It's that moment when your obscure research subject pops up in the news. Yesterday, AOC was confronted by a woman claiming to be a climate activist at a town hall meeting. Her proposal to solve the climate crisis, eat the babies. AOC did not denounce this woman. She thought that she was suffering from some kind of mental illness and treated her kindly. But all kinds of figures on the right and the alt-right have pounced on the story, including the president. So who was this woman? Not a climate activist. Not even, perhaps, someone with a mental illness. She is a representative for the bizarre political cult once led by Lyndon LaRouche. Previous targets for this kind of stunt include Jane Fonda, Olof Palme, and Michael Dukakis, now AOC. And here we can see a picture of the Lyndon LaRouche PAC Twitter saying, LaRouche PAC trolls AOC. AOC doesn't rule out eating babies. Hashtag eat the babies. The LaRouches are pretty exotic. They believe that the Queen controls the drugs trade. They think Prince Philip wants to start World War III. They think Bertrand Russell used the Beatles as part of a secret British Psy war against the USA. They are, to use a technical term, nuts. The LaRouches have been enemies of the Green Movement for decades. They used to carry signs that read, "Feed Jane Fonda to the whales." It's linked with their conspiracy theory about the Queen's green fascism. Pierce Corbyn, by the way, was a member of their Facebook group. The LaRouche group was once a fairly ordinary revolutionary Marxist group. In the early days, Bernie Sanders subscribed to their literature. Then came the great brainwashing affair of 1974, when members were convinced they had been programmed to kill by the CIA. And then he promotes his book here. But the point here is that a small, weird, politically unclassifiable, once Marxist, now often described as neo-fascist and anti-Semitic, has spent nearly 5 decades pulling these stunts. Democrat presidential candidate Michael Dukakis was a notable victim. The LaRouches are now firm Trump supporters, though Putin is their first love. And here they are making headlines again, and still crazy after all these years. It also shows, I suppose, the residual intellectualism of their little movement. The whole stunt is a callback to Jonathan Swift's A Modest Proposal. A Modest Proposal is a satirical essay by Jonathan Swift, published in 1729, and the essay suggests that the impoverished Irish might ease their economic troubles by selling their children as food to rich gentlemen and ladies. Now, there was also one portion where the woman talked about that Swedish scientist who said we should eat dead people. The info on that is a little bit mixed, so let's talk about that for just a second. So here you can see a New York Post article that says, scientists suggest eating human flesh to fight climate change. And here you can see beneath the picture, it says Swedish behavioral scientist Magnus Söderlund. Now, if we go to the website of the European Marketing Confederation, we can see that Professor Magnus Söderlund is head of the Center for Consumer Marketing at Stockholm School of Economics in Sweden. Now, Snopes did an actual article on this asking, did a Swedish scientist propose cannibalism as a solution to climate change? And their answer was mixture. And we can see them say, what's false? Magnus Söderlund did not propose or advocate cannibalism as a solution to climate change during a September 3rd interview on the Swedish television channel TV4. Rather, he explained that his research into the issue was intended to provoke thought and gauge where audiences would draw the line in their willingness to consume various kinds of meat. And if we scroll down, we can see a letter from Söderlund himself where he says, I'm afraid that there have been several misunderstandings in the reporting on this issue. This is what happened. Since many persons are expressing that they do not want to eat traditional meat anymore, one may wonder what we should eat instead. To collect some views on this, I had a chance to ask questions to an audience at a food fair. I showed a meat product and asked if the participants would consider eating it while I varied the content. Cow, vegetarian substitute meat, insects, etc. Human content was included in one version as an extreme case to see where the limit is. Then the issue ended up on various sites with alternative views on facts. I believe that the issue has somehow been hijacked by people who do not believe that global warming and other climate issues should be taken seriously. And given this, it may indeed be useful to refer to events indicating that climate activists have completely crazy ideas, such as that we should eat each other. Just for the record, I do not want to eat human meat. I do not want to be eaten. I do not think that eating humans influences the climate. I am not an activist. I am just a researcher who thinks that it must be possible to ask questions about also the dark sides of what we humans do and do not do. So it seemed like he was doing this sort of marketing / philosophical question of where do you draw the line on how far you will go to help the planet? So basically, if eating humans would help the planet and maybe reverse climate change, is that something that you would be willing to do? It's like a cost-benefit analysis. It really shouldn't be a story, but people like to sensationalize these eating baby stories, Alex Jones types, for example. Now, after this information came out, AOC tweeted again and said, turns out the woman yelling was a Trump supporter. Doesn't rule out potential mental issue. Doctors do that. But good to know they were not in crisis. Earlier this year, I was stalked and very nearly hurt by a disturbed person. I don't take chances and immediately try to de-escalate. So I saw a lot of criticism online that AOC in the moment didn't fight back against this idea of eating babies to, help the climate. But I actually think AOC did a great job here where she was confronted by someone who almost everybody in the room and many people watching thought was clearly mentally ill, probably having a crisis or something like that. You don't want to automatically assume it's a troll because if it's someone who actually has a mental issue, you don't want to just lash back and say, well, you're a troll and this and that. You don't want to take risks. Maybe that person's crazy. They're going to come out there and start stabbing people or shooting them. You don't know. So I think she actually handled this pretty well, try to de-escalate the situation, be nice about it, and be like, we don't have months, that we actually have a few years, which even then I still disagree with that notion that we only have 12 years to live or whatever. But I think she handled it pretty well. She was very respectful in case the woman actually did have a mental health issue. And I would say she probably does have a mental health issue. Even though she wasn't serious and she was trolling, she's still completely out of her mind being a part of that political cult. So that's the story, guys. I thought it was interesting and hilarious. Definitely gave me a few laughs. But what did you guys think? Did you enjoy the video? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Social media links are in the description box below, as well as merch. And I'll see you next time, bro.